What do you think of Suture?
I'd tap that.
Oh, I see chivalry isn't dead after all.
That's my kind of girl. Attractive, broody, eviscerated.
What is wrong with you? Didn't you see what happened to that poor girl? God, Violator, have a heart. Look who I'm talking to. Besides, wouldn't she just fillet you where you stand? Aren't you technically a serial killer?
Haven't you technically committed crimes against humanity?
I don't want to talk about that.
I am Doomsvince. This is day 157 of Spawn Year.
I think Suture is a character who may have warranted a miniseries or even an ongoing if Alan McElroy were allowed to do his own thing and establish a solid supporting cast for her. This issue follows the original Suture arc seamlessly and matches its tone exactly. If you took all the numbers off the covers, this feels like a natural progression for her story, set a few months or maybe even a year after she butchers the Rose Killer. She was used as a plot device to give Mark Simmons something to do last issue, but now that McElroy is exclusively focusing on her again, there's more of an energy and confidence to his writing. Again, I like the basic skeleton of Mark and wanted to see some real flesh on his bones. McElroy didn't need to reintroduce Suture there because those events are inconsequential for this issue, and it isn't like she was gone for a while and now she's back. As far as we know, she's been around knocking off hatchet men this whole time. Suture is returning here in the same way Batman returned in 1992. The writers brought these characters back to audiences, but in their own worlds, they never went anywhere. I said before that Suture seems a little one-note, and McElroy intelligently recognizes that here. I wanted to see this story continue to focus on Mark Simmons, but with Suture as our central character here, it's surprisingly not just another story where she slashes apart violent crazies with a knife, even though the cover would indicate otherwise. McElroy is making a good case for exploring this character further. Last we saw her, Suture seemed to have left her original identity as Gretchen behind, as a ghost who avenged her memory. But here, we find there's more of that woman left in her than she realized, as her conscience begins to reassert itself, and she finds she's had her fill of killing. Suture is still compelled to stop murderers, but she feels shackled to her new destiny, thrust upon her by the ambiguous deity that returned her to life. In the same way, it's revealed, she felt shackled to her parents' lofty, high society expectations for her. She didn't want to be a ballerina then, and now she doesn't want to be a murderer. She's on a path toward redemption by the end, similar to the one it took Spawn 75 issues to finally get on himself, and hopefully I make it far enough in Spawn year to finally see if that ever goes anywhere. And the way she gets there is interesting but odd and a little too easy. There's a famous psychiatrist, yeah, another one, who secretly hacks up people on his off hours. He's killed 22 people cross-dressing while he's doing it. Lipstick, fishnets, the whole 9 yards, and I have no idea what statement the book is making with that, except perhaps that he's having a personality crisis and he's murdering people, and I have no idea if they're patients or not, and becoming them in his mind maybe. But that's a stretch. I don't have nearly enough information to make a diagnosis. So Suture, who I guess is the world's greatest detective because she always finds these well-hidden nut jobs after police have been searching for months to no avail, makes a deal with the doctor. Cure her of her obsession to kill in 24 hours and she'll leave him alive. So they talk about her past, and without nearly enough development, or at least without my getting to read enough of their session, she miraculously comes to the decision to stop killing and tells him to do the same, sparing him as promised. But the universe has to make him pay for his crimes, even though he plans to stop killing, so conveniently, this is the same night the cops finally catch up with him. While this is poorly realized because we don't spend nearly enough time with either character to buy or fully appreciate their personal revelations, the idea of it taking a serial killer killer to cure another serial killer is fascinating, and the Doctor's behavior was entirely sick, so I did need to see repercussions for those actions. Also, this issue includes some internal monologue and thought balloons, reflections on past events from later on that make zero sense to be coming from Suture's head in the scene. In one panel, she passionately screams, "No!" but then, wearing the same pained expression, she calmly and soberly appears to narrate to herself. But I could feel the truth revealed. I'd been created and recreated by others all through my life. Gretchen was a puppet, a rag doll that became whatever the situation required. A daughter, a businesswoman, a lover. I'm thinking McElroy and the letterer, Tom Orzechowski, must have gotten their wires crossed. But I do like the idea that now she looks like the rag doll she's always seen herself as. And then there's a panel where the edges of Spawn's cape can be seen. Is that supposed to be a clever tease, even though he has nothing to do with the story? Or is the art trying to subtly parallel the journeys of these two creatures of the night, both brought back to life by some mystical creature? I hate it when I know I'm reading way too far into a story that probably isn't aware of its own potential subtext, and I'm probably the only one who notices. I like the concepts over the execution in this story. The narrative is just like Mark's character previously. The bones are solid, but there's no meat on them. Signed, Captain Logan.